Hello, hello. So, unfortunately, it appears one of the casters that was supposed to join me today might have abandoned me. So, I guess I'll be here today, solo casting. But I'll give it my best. We'll see. Five Kitten Pack Revamp versus Jimmy and Friends. We have a team from that has already been that has played before. Five Kitten Pack. They're from SBU. They have played once in this tournament already, but unfortunately did lose. But they're back, and they're still playing in the upper bracket. But they're going to be playing Jimmy and Friends today. Jimmy and Friends is another team that has played a series, so and they've also lost that series too. But who knows? We'll see today. It's basically a fresh blank slate. We're going to be starting from ground zero, and both teams will be playing in the winners bracket to see who will be playing Renekton Gators in the winners semifinals next week. And as I go and fix this title, eventually, thank you. All right, that should be fixed. Alrighty, looks like we're good. All right, as we wait for the draft to start, we have. I guess we could talk a bit about the teams. Jimmy and Friends historically has been a really interesting team. They've played in many of our tournaments in the past to varying degrees of success, but they're back with a completely different roster. And this is going to be the first time that they get a stream in this tournament, so we'll see how well they perform with this new rendition of their roster after probably maybe this being like the fourth or fifth version of this team. Five Kid Impact Revamp. This is the first time they've played in a Rutgers tournament. And as I say that, we go straight into the blue bands. All right, there we go. First band is Vladimir. Probably a takeaway from. Am I allowed to say this? I'll just say it. The top laner of Jimmy and Friends Murderers. Uh, he's been known to be a pretty strong one trick in the past. Some of you might know him as Dahan from the past when he was a Vlad one trick in the mid lane, but now he plays top lane for Jimmy and Friends here, as he role swapped recently when he played on a JV team. Interestingly, a quick thing to mention is that it seems that Kuya Kim is playing in the mid lane while IU Very Pog is playing ADC for this team. An interesting adaptation that Jimmy and Friends have made, and this is, I think, the first time we're going to see IU Very Pog playing the ADC position for his team that he's consistently been in all of the rosters. In the meantime, we have another few takeaways. Yorick getting taken away due to the changes, especially on the new 13.10 patch, if I'm not mistaken, where Hullbreaker and split pushing is just really, really powerful. We also see Yone taken away, and Annie and Thresh getting removed probably from the support position. First pick Wukong, pretty interesting considering the fact that there's a lot of new picks open with this new patch, and I it's still been a really solid champ, so it could just be them going towards comfort. But definitely interesting to see if there's going to be any new adaptations or new picks that might appear because of this really recent patch. And immediately we see Jimmy and friends picking up Hecarim for Nullment. Nullment is a pretty he's known to play Hecarim at Rockers, so this is going to be really interesting, especially that Hecarim has a few options for builds and in the past, and now there's a pretty good chance that he can either fluctuate between a tank build or this pure lethality build with the new Yomu's Ghostblade. Jin, a really solid pick on the patch. Supposedly he's been doing really well ever since the new patch came out, and due to just his insanely strong kiting from Gale Force, Rapid Fire, Storm Razor, all of these items just giving so much move speed, so much safety for him while he's able to still set up his team. Syndra Aatrox, we have the lock-in. Syndra has just always been a really solid pick with Wukong. I do like the fact that SBU has considered to draft different damage types and to be able to diversify, especially between that mid jungle where mid jungle wants to be taking a lot of skirmishes in the current meta. Um, Although this meta might be a little bit different from but for definitely the last few um, bit of the season has been really important for a mid jungle to have a strong 2v2. Besides for that, we have Aatrox getting picked up. I don't know anything about Aatrox's new builds. However, it might be interesting to see what this Aatrox builds. Gragas likely picked up for the top lane. Oh, another thing I didn't realize, SPU, did they do a third ban? Oh, they did. Okay, the third ban was Ezreal, just probably for safety, but the Jin pick was already locked in, so the ban is already, it has its value already. As we continue, we have more takeaways. One Def Powers Spike, with Pyke in the name, has his Pyke taken away, as Pyke is banned by SBU on B4. Yuumi getting banned away on B5. Soraka also getting banned away from B5, showing that they really don't want SBU getting some strong peel champions, especially with the current roster they have. Another thing to mention, though, is SBU is showing a really good five Kitten pack, I should say, because there have been multiple SBU teams in this tournament. But five Kitten pack has shown pretty good adaptations from the last time we've seen them play, where there were some drafts that some of the people that were watching or analyzing the games might have not as desired, especially when it came to the what's it called, the four range comp that they tried in the past. But definitely a good draft adaptation. They're showing a pretty solid comp right now as Jimmy and friends locks in the Nautilus, saying that we want to have kill pressure on this bot lane, and that SBU can see all the cards. They see the Hecarim, they see the Jin Nautilus, and they have to pick a bot lane that responds well into this. Meanwhile, we do have one of the matchups already finished. We see the Gragas is the counter pick into the Aatrox. Gragas has pretty strong mobility to be able to avoid a lot of the Aatrox's early game aggression, and is a generally solid engage in option in mobile carries such as Syndra. As I say that, Kog'Maw Lulu getting logged in by 5 Kitten Pack. Really, really strong in the patch, by the way. Kog'Maw is one of the main beneficiaries of the new patch with his new, well, not really new, but definitely more OP options with Gutsu's Rageblade into Runon's Hurricane, if I'm not mistaken. Yas, the final pickup for the mid lane. That's going to go on to Kuya Kim. And we have a pretty interesting draft. Jimmy and Friends is really showing a hand that they really want to be able to go for these dives, access this backline, make sure to kill this Lulu, the Kog'Maw, the Syndra, and they have a lot of tools to do so. Meanwhile, SBU, they have pretty strong peel and pretty good counter engage with the Wukong, the Aatrox, and also the Lulu, making it really interesting where this game can go. I think we'll probably have to see how both teams play this out in game. However, it's very likely that we'll start to see from both sides some, definitely from Jimmy and friends, we should be seeing some early game aggression. And SBU, they want to play pretty heavily towards either accelerating this Kog'Maw by counter ganking any potential dives on the bot lane, or by playing through a potentially strong side on this Aatrox. Although the pick I don't think is that favored into Gragas. Meanwhile, Jimmy and friends, they have a lot of key playmaking tools. They have the Gragas, they have the Yas, they have the Nautilus, and they have the Hack. It's going to be a lot of dive, a lot of playmaking, and they really want to be able to pull this trigger as quickly as possible and put pressure on 5 Kitten Pack to be able to really try to open up mistake opportunities and create those angles for 5 Kitten Pack to maybe get caught and throw this potential scaling, especially with the new Syndra and Kog'Maw, where those champs will scale like crazy. Thank you for the analyst desk in the Twitch chat. Although, what's really important here is that it really does come down a lot in these games beyond just draft. It comes down to comfort pick. It comes down to how people are performing on the day. So game 1 will be a really good showcase of both teams' strengths, and we'll be able to really determine what the rest of the series will look like from this first game and how they play. So as I say that, we'll be probably going into a 3-minute break as we wait for the load time, and otherwise, see you in game. 2, 1, and we're starting. Welcome back to game 1 of 5 Kitten Pack versus Jimmy and Friends.
I am here now. Sorry I was late, Justin, but I made it just on time for game 1.
Wow, and meanwhile, I'm getting griefed from my chat. There we go. Okay. Cool. We're here now.
Yeah, took a quick look at the draft. I would have to agree with our analyst on this one. The blue side draft looks a lot stronger in this game in terms of the carry potential later in the game. This Kog'Maw Lulu combo has got to be one of the strongest bot laners in the patch. I don't know about Lulu in particular, but I do know that Kog'Maw is very strong right now with the new Rage Blade.
Agreed. And it will be pretty interesting to see a bunch of the new items play out on this patch. If I'm not mistaken, I would say probably about half of the champions in this game have adaptations or differences in their builds. So it will definitely depend on, because of the fact that the patch has only been out for about 2 days now. It'll be interesting because of how much the teams have practiced on this new patch and how much that they know about this new patch will be really like questioned and challenged in this first game, as we see.
Is this the first game on the new patch for this tournament?
Yes, that is true.
Oh, I see. So definitely gonna see some. We're definitely gonna have to see some adaptations, especially in game 2, after seeing how it works game 1.
Agreed. And as we say that, we have immediately a quick leash, or if I'm not mistaken, of I don't even know if there was a leash from Jimmy and Friends, getting IU Very Pog and 1 Def Power Spike this early priority in the spot lane. In the meantime, trading in a lot of the lanes right now. Starting to see this early game aggression come out.
Not a whole lot going on though in terms of playmaking. Both junglers just farming their camps, so.
In the meantime, we do see a potential gank coming in from Shiv here, popping the ghost.
Is low HP. Flash forward from 1 Death Power Spike. Nautilus lands a passive, and that's just a quick and easy kill onto Creamy Fury. I apologize if I said that wrong.
Shimmy Fury, I think, yeah. And really importantly, that does go onto the Jhin, which is one of the really strong champs on this patch right now. Especially that you give him the ability to snowball. He gets those early items, which may not have as much damage right now, but give him a lot of mobility, especially when most Jhins right now are looking for that Gale Force rapid fire build to just be able to kite properly and go for that really strong playmaking for their team. In the meantime, otherwise,
fight in the top lane, but nothing really happening here. That lane's really passive in the top lane. Gragas is broken though.
meantime, it is important to mention that although Null has been able to find that first gank, that it did cost him a lot of the tempo that was necessary, and to be able to find that pick, and is starting to create a pretty significant farm advantage in this jungle position.
Yeah, for sure. Kitten has like an ATS lead now, and is probably gonna reset here on a stronger buy than what Noman got. But we'll see whether
It's
or
a Kindle
not.
gem though. I don't think that really helps to clear at all.
I mean, he gets CDR as 1 Power Spike walking up, hits the dredge line. Creamy Fury going really low. IU Fairy Pog doesn't. They don't have quite enough damage. IU Pog flash forwards, going really low. Yuzuki might get the kill here. It does manage to pick it up. 1 Death Power Spike should be able to clean it up though here. And I don't think there's any way for.
House Kitten's coming. House Kitten's coming.
House Kitten's here. 1 Death Power Spike has to do something or get out here because House Kitten is here. And wow. Really, I mean, Ivory Pog, he was looking for the kill there, and there was probably an angle to be had there, but he just went a little bit too aggressively, and he did not, and he completely disrespected the damage that Lulu has, I guess.
And that's really important because 5 Kitten Pack does get to pick up with Crim Fury, is able to pick up the spot wave, and meanwhile, as I say that,
Depth charge goes down. Good W from Ivory Pog. Creamy Fury getting chunked. Probably is not going to die, but House Kitten is here with a threat potential towards Ivory Pog. They're not going to be able to get the kill onto Creamy Fury. And Ivory Pog's level down.
yeah, it's really important to mention that on that previous trade, because they weren't able to get that 2-for-1, that the Kog'Maw died earlier and got the
Creamy Fury didn't see what happened, but I assume he just walked up a little bit too far and pays with his life.
And that pick does set up for this early dragon for the side of Jimmy and friends. And forget what I was saying earlier about how 5 Kitten Pack was able to pick up that wave earlier. That lead was completely
another wave.
Yeah. The lead is completely lost from that XP advantage they had from the extra wave.
Mid lane, Kyu Kim looking for a kill. Not gonna find anything. Macchiato is a little bit low. Maybe potentially could set up for a dive, but it looks like he's not gonna go for it. Has no enemy wave to dash around. And they do see House Kitten. Kyu Kim looking for it. Misses the Steel Tempest. House Kitten trading back. Macchiato is here. Kyu Kim has to be careful. Nullman is here. Flash forwards. Good R. Depth charge lands onto. Sorry, what is that? What is the name of that ability?
Which ability?
Dredge line. I already forgot.
Dredge line. His not Q?
Yeah, Dredge line.
That's Dredge line.
Nullman's just gonna run straight top lane. What can Blue Apple do about this? Oh, it's flash forwards from Murderers. Good R. And Blue Apple's probably dead here. Does force out. It does force out the onslaught of shadows from Nullman, but and got Murderous Flash.
And that was just really awkward because it just felt like that House Kitten was trying to go in and get some extra camps to try to put some pressure on Nullman, but without the priority on his laners, so Kyu Kim was able to make it there first, burn that W, and be able to set up for and allow for one Death Power Spike's roam and the play on from Nullman to be able to get a lot of value there.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate. The fact that Creamy Fury ended up dying there just completely messed up the tempo for the side of 5 Kittens. I'll just call their team 5 Kittens. Kim hitting some good cues. I wish I could play Yasuo this way. Looking for a play. And wow, nothing to even say there. Really good roam by One Death Power Spike. Is able to get such good timings here. This always has a roam timer to just get some free kills.
Yeah, and definitely. Oh, One Death Power Spike here again.
House Kitten might not be able to live this. Kuya Kim just cleans up another kill. One Death Power Spike. His impact in this game is really, really high. He's found 3 roams now where he's able to help his team secure a kill, including a double gank mid.
And it just seems like that Jimmy and friends have come up with a pretty interesting response. They're saying that the scaling on the enemy team's bot lane is too high, and the damage on their team makes it really difficult to be able to punish the bot lane. So when they can early game, they tried to punish the spot lane, and now that it's become a lot more difficult. Whenever they can get this push, One Death Power Spike just looks for the play. Oh.
Blue Apple looks for something top
Whoops.
lane, dies under tower. Kim fighting a little bit in the mid lane, getting a little scrappy there.
Speaking of which, we have
On the power spike, Dredge line
ooh.
doesn't connect, and it's just going to be some poke from the curtain call.
Meantime, there might be a play getting set up on murderers here.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Gragas is just really safe as a champion. It's going to be hard for them to get anything done, especially since House Kitten doesn't have his Cyclone up.
And what's really important to mention here is that with this early game lead, Jimmy and Friends is actually in a really comfortable position, even though their team doesn't have as ideal scaling. They really want to be able to snowball this lead though, and meanwhile, this is a really good pickup for the side of five Kitten Pack, as they're able to deny any further snowballing from this Rift Herald, and they are able to maybe get a gold injection later on for their own team.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to use this on, say, the Kog'Maw or the Syndra, so they're able to pick up some tower platings before the 14-minute mark, and they're able to just get some desperately needed golds for their carries. I mean, there's a pretty significant CS and just gold advantage through kills from both carry lanes in the mid and bot lane.
And as you say that, we have already seen about 1,000 gold difference in the mid lane, about a 1,000, what is this, 1,500 gold difference in the mid lane. These gold leads are starting to build up rapidly on the side of Jimmy and Friends.
Yeah, look at the total gold difference. It's almost 5,000 gold difference in total. And just an insane amount of golds that Jimmy and Friends have to work with. And we see one reworked item, and wow, that was a really good combo by Murderers. Just the standard Bombo combo, if you will. Able to pick up Blue Apple there.
It just looks so difficult for 5 Kitten Pack to play the map. Whenever they go, even in isolated matchups, it feels like all their lanes are losing. And then you add on top of the fact that you have Noman looking around the map, you have one Def Power Spike looking for these picks in the mid lane, that one time in the top lane. It's starting to become really, really hard to play on the side of 5 Kitten Pack.
Yeah, and I don't actually know how well these champions scale yet. I only know that Rageblade Kog'Maw is strong, and there is a fight going down. Curtain Call, good ultimate by Kim, and one F Power Spike misses the dredge line, goes into tower for nothing, and honestly, I can't even tell what's going on the screen right now. Kim goes down, Very Pug still taking tower, he might just die, has to burn heal, and
somehow
somehow
ends with Jimmy and Friends on top, even with one Def Power Spike missing the dredge line onto the tower.
For it again. Good flash by Macchiato. Very Pug's gonna die here. I don't even know if that was worth it. 450 gold to Syndra. Probably not worth the 300 gold they're getting from that, as there is nobody on the map for them to shove in waves to capitalize on these kills.
It just seems kind of a strange play, because although Jimmy and Friends did in the end get all 4 of the kills, it felt like a lot of it was really overforced, and in the end they gained barely any. If not, I'm pretty sure they gained no gold from that whole play, and that includes the fact they denied a wave simply because of the fact that they gave so many shutdowns over.
Yeah, and Iver Pug's gonna actually lose another wave in exchange. So it ends up being that they denied almost no waves in terms of gold, and Ivory Pug might even lose 2 waves here, which means they actually lost waves out of that exchange. And Ritter is going for something here. Does have his explosive cast up, not going to look for it.
That's weird on the side of 5 Kitten Pack, choosing to pop the ult.
Good dredge line for 1 death power spike. Ivory Pug's looking for it. He's very low, but are they gonna be able to secure this? And 1 death power spike's gonna take it. I don't think
Kog'Maw's just too behind.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Deadly Flourish didn't hit, but 1 death power spike hits the Q, and it should be a kill with the Kitten call here, and it is. It should have been possible to win that. Ivory Pog definitely overstepped there, but Creamy Fury is just 2 behind, not able to get a kill there, and they're looking, but Ivory Pog's just gone.
And again, just the 2v2 in the bot lane where with Jimmy and friends with their bot lane with IU Very Pog and one Def Power Spike just getting the upper hand again in these 2v2s. It just feels so difficult with Kog'Maw being so behind in items to be able to
They're
take
looking
those
for a top dive
2v2s.
here. Kuyakim spotted out. Blue Apple might be in danger. Nullman is here as well. Blue Apple, what can he do? Team is not here to support him. And they Explosive Cask into the ultimate, and yeah, there is no chance for Blue Apple to do anything there. Unfortunately, his team's just not there to support him. He doesn't have the resources. Macchiato comes, but he's way too late. Ivory Pog looking at 1v2.
That just shows the strength. Right now, the Jhin is just so strong right now. Being able to take those trades even through the shield and be able to just find that damage into the enemy Kog'Maw of Crim Fury.
Yeah, if you look at the item difference, Creamy Fury doesn't even have his first item, and Ivory Pog is well on his way towards this Infinity Edge.
And what we really want to see here from 5 Kitten Pack is they really need to find a way to slow down this game and be able to just challenge Jimmy and friends on a more even ground. So the best thing that they should look to do here is to use their numbers advantage. And as I say that, they are getting picked out again.
Yeah, as you say that, Jimmy and friends instead turning their own numbers advantage, and they're just able to get the kill onto Yuzuki for free. And they got the TP burned from Blue Apple, which means that that's not going to be up for a while. And that means that, again, they Jimmy and Friends actually has their own number advantage with the TP advantage here. And Kuya Kim looking for something. Cyclone is up from House Kitten. Kuya Kim has his ultimate and misses the Steel Tempest. But it doesn't matter. Kuya Kim 2.5 items to House Kitten, or 1.5 items to House Kitten's 1. Not much he can do there.
And it kind of feels a little awkward because right now 5 Kitten Pack really needs to start to stack their members to be able to look for some type of cheese play, some type of pick to get back into this game. However, it's actually Jimmy and friends, because their team comp is just so mobile. They're able to rotate around the map faster and create numbers advantages even faster than a team.
And oh my god, they might call that a bomba combo in EU West. As Kuya Kim's just going crazy. I think he's just autoing them for free, and somehow Murders gets away with his life, and that's an ace because Nolman picked up a kill in the bot lane as well. I'm pretty sure Kuya Kim just stood there and auto attacked for half of that fight, and he's just able to get away with that. And Murderers hits a really good combo with E Flash R, followed up by Kuya Kim's ultimate, and then barely manages to get out because 5 Kittens doesn't have any damage right now.
And now it's really this game feels really out of it now. But definitely you have to give credit where credit is due with players like Nullman, like One Def Power Spike, just finding so many plays early game to make this game so quickly unmatchable, where it just seems like all the lanes just fell behind through a rapid succession of ganks and roams between the side of Jimmy and Friends' jungler and support.
Yeah, for sure. Like Nullman and One Def Power Spike, the two of them together, as well as Kuya Kim. Kuya Kim is also playing really well. We have to mention that. But they've just been able to make so many plays around the map, and it just seems really oppressive for the side of Jimmy and Friends to deal with. Housekeeper might look for something here, but Kuya Kim is here as well behind them, and Ivory Pog coming in. pops the Deathbringer. A really good R, double R, from Murderers and Kuya Kim. And whoever this TP is probably dead as well. Macchiato TP's right into the waiting arms of Jimmy and friends.
Oh, and a bug. Sorry about that. But as we continue with this game,
Yeah, I think Jimmy and friends might just look to end here. They're very, very strong right now. Both Kuya Kim and IU Very Pog finished their Infinity Edge, which means they're at one of their highest damage spikes in the game right now, and they have the Rift Herald. They could just look to end.
and it just feels so difficult for 5 Kitten Pack to find any potential
And
play
if
here.
Power Spike's Dredge line goes wide,
Oh,
and Kuya Kim does fall, but Noment cleans up, and this might actually just be game. Kuya Kim is dead, but Jimmy and Friends still has Ivory Pog. Macchiato goes for the Zonias, and Ivory Pog is gonna. Wasn't even Ivory Pog, just the insane amount of damage from the side of Jimmy and Friends.
but they got another pick. They got a pick onto Noman. This is the types of picks we need to see if they want to. If 5 Kitten Pack really wants to get back into this game. I mean, it's looking really difficult. 17k gold. It's about 1k gold difference per minute by this point. But if you're a believer, I mean, it really comes down to finding more. Jimmy and friends really needs to just overstep right now. We can maybe see some type of a pick from 5 Kitten Pack, and
Kitten Pack
they still
has
have the
a
damage.
chance on this Baron here. Creamy Fury has one on-hit item other than his Rage Blade, and they're looking for something. House Kitten goes in with the Cyclone, not able to catch up to Are You Very Pog. One Power Spike isn't even dying to the focus of 4, and he finally goes down. Kuya Kim is here, finds the.
They're starting Baron.
Oh, that does not look good for the side of 5 Kid, in fact. I don't think that they should have started Baron there. They did okay. They found this pick onto one Death Power Spike, but then they committed to the Baron, and Noman was sprinting there as fast as he possibly could, and Kuya Kim was waiting in the Pixel Brush. I don't know that was exactly the best play they possibly could have made, and Jimmy and Friends might just end here.
Yeah, as we say that,
stop this.
Jimmy and friends knocking on the door saying it's time for this game to end. And as they hit this final Nexus Tower, there's only 3 people to defend. 4. Oh!
Kuya Kim goes under Fountain. Are they gonna fail to end here because Kuya Kim decided to ult off of that cask? Hopefully not. Nobody's hitting the Nexus.
SBU has got a pretty good defense. Oh
no, Ivory Pog just needs to hit the Nexus once with this Force Shot. He's choosing not to, though. The base going really low. Nolan just needs one auto, but they're looking for these kills, and this is just bullying, honestly. Ivory Pog looking for something, gets exhausted. Come on, guys, just one auto attack. And
thank you. All right, and Jimmy and friends take game 1 of this whole series.
We'll see if Jimmy and friends can keep up the pace in game 2 with an almost 40 kills in 23 minutes.
Wow. I will quickly say that it's really important for Mac, and I think for the side of 5 Kitten Pack that it did seem like that out of all of them that is that Macchiato?
I think it's supposed to be read Macchiato.
Macchiato? Okay. Well, I think it's really important for them to play around the mid laner and try to put more resources into them, because it feels like that they were able to perform the best on their team, and that could be a potential option for them to be able to create plays or maybe restrict the amount of snowballing that we saw from the mid jungle of Jimmy and friends this time. Or maybe just trying to restrict the amount of ability for one Death Power Spike to be able to get off these roams, to be able to work with Nullment and create so much pressure on the map so early into the game.
Yeah, they might need to figure out something with their support. Maybe pick something a little bit more aggressive, something that can actually put pressure onto the bot lane of Jimmy and friends. Otherwise, the same thing might just happen where one Death Fire Spike is able to just roam around and help his team out and get free picks in the mid lane in the jungle.
Well, Jimmy and Friends is up 1-0 in this match, and we'll be back in about a few minutes to see if Jimmy and Friends takes it home for game 2, or if 5 Kitten Pack Revamp is able to adapt with this new patch and what they've seen so far to be able to make it to that game 3 of this best of 3. Bye. Welcome back. And it's time for what is this? Game 2.
No, I think it's actually game 4, Justin.
Ah, my bad.
Anyways, we're just waiting a little bit for this draft to start. And, hopefully game 2 wraps up just as fast as game 1 and Jimmy and Friends takes it home. And then I can just go play Star Rail or take a nap.
Yeah. Thank you for that. What he actually meant was we want to see 5 Kitten Pack Revamp be able to adapt to this draft and maybe bring us to a potential game 3, right?
Yeah. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, thank you. Anyways, if you missed it, game 1, I mean, a lot of people that were watching, maybe I missed it too. I blinked and I think the game was basically over. So it definitely we want to see some draft adaptations to be able to counter some of the early game aggression that Jimmy and Friends does like to play with their jungle and their support here. We want to try to see some new adaptations from the side of Kittens. I would want to see some type of more aggressive bot lane, maybe potentially to try to put one def power spike under the tower, or maybe some more aggressive mid jungle combo to be able to suppress Nullmint earlier into that jungle and make sure that they aren't that those two players aren't able to just walk around the map and freely set up advantages for the side of Jimmy and Friends.
Yeah, definitely hope to see some adaptations from the side of Five Kittens. It's not necessarily that their drafting was incorrect or bad in game 1. It was just that they weren't able to respond to the roaming from One Death Power Spike and the ganking prowess of Nullmint. So hopefully they come up with some type of response, not necessarily in the draft, but definitely in their playstyle. They need to make sure that they're watching out for their these fast roams from One Death Power Spike and these fast ganks from Nullmint. Maybe they'll choose to like ban out Nullmint's Heck Room or something so that he doesn't have access to as fast of a ganker. But we'll see what they have for us in store. Let's see what they have. We'll see what they have in store for us in game number 2, and we should be seeing drafts start soon.
As the players are right now ready checking, so we should be in like any time now. No?
And
yes, and we're good. And it's time to begin. Jimmy and Friends on the blue side, immediately banning away the Yorick again from 5 Kitten Pack. Seems like that they are very happy with their previous bans. 5 Kitten Pack looking for a earlier ban on the Pike, actually, than the last draft. It does appear that they do want to be able to take away that Pike as quickly as possible. Yuumi getting taken away from the side of Jimmy and Friends. This was supposed. It seems like they're starting to pull a lot of their bans from the round 2 up to round 1 and trying to address some of the bigger issues that they may have appeared to have found from that first game.
does ban the Nautilus, and Thrash is gone too, which means the only hook support up is Blitzcrank. Maybe we see a Blitzcrank?
What do you mean? Leona's a hook champ if you really cope.
That is kind of true. And
she hooks herself to you.
So is Kled in theory. The Yone ban coming out from the side of Kittens and Vladimir.
That's the big thing with these new bans. They are letting the Vladimir through for the side of Jimmy and Friends and giving Murderers his main and his comfort pick from mid lane, and now getting to bring it into this top lane.
Well, maybe Blue Apple has something cooking in order to counterpick this Vladimir. It's unfortunate that his Yorick is banned, but maybe he's got something in the pocket as Aurelia gets picked.
It's probably going to go top lane. It's a decently strong pick into the Vladimir, and it's
go top lane.
Now there's a Vex lock-in. Interesting strategy we have here from 5 Kitten Pack, trying to pick up the solo lanes early, saying that you don't have a counter to what we have here. And Jimmy and Friends says we do, as they lock in the Zed. Zed is a pretty strong champ on the patch, but I don't know how comfortable it is into a champion like Vex that has a lot of good playmaking potential into the Zed. Meanwhile, Aphelios getting picked up on the side of Jimmy and friends. This is another interesting pick as
Fitness, they
Aphelios.
didn't actually like this patch that much, if I recall correctly.
I mean, I think it depends on the type of build you're going right now. But what's more interesting is that it's getting picked up by not only what would be considered by Rutgers to be a mid laner of that is IU very pog, and having the confidence to play a very mechanically demanding ADC on the first on their debut series on ADC. Lee Sin getting locked in from the side of 5 Kitten pack as
It's gonna
they
be
go
very
for.
dangerous for IU very Pog here. There's a Vex Aurelia and a Lee Sin looking for him.
Yeah, with this the massive amount of dive we're seeing right now, it's going to be interesting what Jimmy and Friends wants to draft, especially in the peel category. Unless their plan is just we have so many carry potential options that we just don't need all of them. But I think we should be seeing Jimmy and Friends drafting some peel really soon for this Aphelios. Meanwhile, Hackerim getting taken away, a respect ban towards Nullman. They don't want to see the Hackerim again, and trying to make them find a different pick to try to find that same level of priority. Zach getting taken away for a similar reason on the side of Jimmy and friends. Oh no, Udyr, I should correct. And meanwhile, Seraphine and Lulu getting taken away. Just
And that does
trying to get.
mean that there is not a lot of support options for the side of 5 Kittens.
Mhm.
But also from Jimmy and Friends, if they want to peel support, Thresh is gone, Dauntless is gone, and
Meanwhile,
Falcon's gonna pick up the
Kitten's
Ezreal.
5K Impact does pick up the Ezreal here. A pretty solid champ at being able to weave in and out of the fights and being able to actually make pretty good use out of a pretty weak item on the patch right now with that is Duskblade. Duskblade is not that strong in most champions' hands, but actually has been seeing some level of success on Ezreal. Meanwhile, the
And Jimmy
Tahm
and
Kench getting
Friends, they
picked
found
up.
they found what they wanted to use as peel. They chose Tom Kench,
It's a solid pick, don't get me
and
wrong, but it definitely feels like that right now. We do see with this Tom Kench Poppy that it does feel like they're a little bit stacked in the wrong that it just feels really awkward. They don't have a lot of engage besides for just simply let's run at them and try to go on just dive and try to kill them.
they're gonna pick up. Falcons picks up Morgana as their last champion.
It's a
Um,
pretty good pickup, to be fair. The Black Shield prevents Poppy from simply being able to block the dashes on a lot of these champions. And also, Morgana is able to restrict the movement of so many of these aggressively fast moving champions, especially when we see Zed, Vladimir, and Poppy trying to dive into this very minuscule backline of Vex Ezreal that already has a lot of mobility and safety on its own.
and gotta make note that uh, Kittens 5 Kittens doesn't really have that much of a front line. Sure they have like Lee Sin Aurelia who kind of builds bruiser slash tankiness, but to be like in relative terms, all of these champions from the side of 5 Kittens look really, really squishy. Especially in the eyes of a Zed who gets any amount of kills. So we have to definitely have to be careful of Kuya Kim. If he ever gets a kill or two, it'd be very hard for 5 Kittens to stop him, unless of course the Morgana hits the binding or Kuya Kim just falls prey to stray stun or fear from Vex or Aurelia.
In the meantime, it just feels a little awkward. Although Jimmy and Friends has some pretty good scaling, you could argue this a similar thing for the side of 5 Kittens with the fact that the Ezreal does have decent scaling, the Aurelia does have decent scaling, and all these champions do pretty well into the champions we're saying on the side of Jimmy and Friends with, again, arguably a lot of the damage being really hard to kill champions such as Aurelia that is able to really flourish inside of these fights when there's not a lot of genuine damage that wants to target her.
Yeah, and another thing is that Poppy really hates Aurelia really hates point and click CC or like mass CC. But on the side of Jimmy and friends, they only really got Poppy to deal with that, and the second that Poppy's W is down, Aurelia can kind of just walk around in these fights relatively unhindered. Of course, damage will always be a big issue, and Jimmy and friends got plenty of it with the Zed, Vladimir, Aphelios, but not a lot of CC to lock down this Aurelia, this Lee Sin, and Ivory Paul could just get swept away from this team very easily.
Well, there is definitely a lot of interesting early game plays, but we're just going to have to probably address that while we get into the game. In the meantime, we'll be taking a short break as we get ready for game 2 of Jimmy and Friends on the blue side versus 5 Kitten Pack on the red side. We'll be right back. And welcome back for game 2 of 5 Kitten Pack versus Jimmy and Friends. And
And
we're straight in!
oh,
Okay, here we go!
I can in fact immediately looking for an invade here. We'll see if they find anything. Yuzuki did start with his Dark Finding, which means that if they find someone, they might get someone. And Ryukim is so far up right now. Wonder if they will make it there in time though. Death Power Spike, find the Q, and Blue Apple walks into the waiting arms annulment, gets chunked for a huge amount. Kyukim gets some poke done to him. Annulment takes some damage. Murderer takes a Dark Binding, but nothing really happens there. Blue Apple did get forced to flash, and we'll have to reset.
And what is really important to mention here is, it does seem to be a trade of summoners, although a Flashless Irelia is still a gankable Irelia for the side of Jimmy and Friends. They should definitely, and as we say that, we do see Noman looking to try to start this bot side jungle, looking to path up top side and try to punish that Irelia without the flash.
Yeah, and hopefully he does manage to get the punished down, because Kim will have a little bit more trouble getting this kill secure onto Macchiato without that ignite. And he is going to get poked down by this Vex range versus melee. Not the most fun to play.
But speaking of which, Housekitten's here first.
House Kitten literally cleared one camp before coming top, and Murderer's probably going to have to flash here. Oh, he chooses. Oh, he doesn't have flash. He has Ignite Ghost.
And
down.
Key thing to mention is this quick clear on the side of the Lee Sin allows for them
going in the bot lane. Ivory Paul getting some good damage down, and yeah.
But yeah, definitely
gets hit level 2 first.
But yeah, back to that top play. It definitely was a good call from House Kitten, reading the fact that Murderers and on the Vladimir does not go W first, and punishing the Vladimir level 1 and getting out not only the kill, but also making the Vlad lose a lot of waves on this top side, giving and creating a huge lead.
Noman's in the ball lane. One death power spike going in. Flash E from Noman, and it's just gonna be killing to Yuzuki. And Ayupog maybe looking for more, but nothing can be found there.
Again, just a really also again we're starting to see similar patterns from last game with the bot lane of Jimmy and Friends pairing up with their jungler to find these early picks. Meanwhile, as I say this, House Kitten's gank looking for a gank.
And mid lane, Macchiato's dying, but Kyukim's going low. Bot lane goes pretty even. Ayupog looking for something here, flashes forwards. Doesn't really have the damage though. And you're gonna get a double.
And while that was really good for the side of 5 Kitten Pack, we did see some of those missing pings flying from the side of red. Probably a frustration as Makito
barely misses out on killing Kyukim there.
And yeah, and gets solo killed, which does even
out. No, it's not
the
a solo kill. Noman was there, but
it was Noman. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was Noman. Noman did show up there, but it's still a really nice pick from the side of Jimmy and Friends to get that kill mid lane in response to Housekitten's getting fought. Top lane, Murderer's getting traded on, trades back. Hanamir's really balanced champion.
But yeah, definitely we're seeing both teams getting some early blows back and forth. It's going to be really interesting what both sides try to do with their leads, especially the fact that while we do have a more diversely spread out lead on the side of Jimmy and Friends, it's key to look at the fact that we do see 2 kills on this Ezreal, on Creamy Fury, and they're really looking to rely on this Ezreal pick to be able to scale into this game as quickly as possible and find the damage for the side of 5 Kitten Pack.
Yeah, hopefully Creamy Fury actually able to play the game here. Last game he was actually just getting run over. In the top lane, House Kitten's here, but Murderous might just be dead. Really clutch heal there, and I think it. Oh, it doesn't even save him. Murderous just dead in the top lane. Solo kill from Blue Apple.
And Blue Apple is getting really good value out of this Ignite. 2 kills already onto this top laner. And
Murderous hasn't even used the Summoner spell.
You're right. That's interesting.
Blue Apple getting really good value out of Summoner spells. Murderous getting none. To be fair, Ghost should be more valuable to Vladimir later in the game, as he would like to get into these fights faster, but right now, not getting a whole lot of value out of that Ghost. And he hasn't been close enough to getting a kill to use that Ignite.
And as we were talking about, finally we're starting to see signs of life from the side of 5 Kitten Pack, and they're able to start winning some of these trades, these 2v2 fights bot lane. Even the just a solo 1v1 solo kill on the top lane. And with these pickups, we're starting to see good potential plays from the side of 5 Kitten Pack to be able to create more leads in this top lane, in this spot lane.
Yeah, and Murderous is for sure gonna have a hard time playing here. Blue Apple has an Old Mage Mantle and is going straight for his Blade of the Ruin King. Definitely not easy, as Premature going in. W in from One Death Power Spike. Ivory Pugling very low, cleanses, but doesn't cleanse the exhaust, and he does manage to get the kill. One Death Power Spike trying to auto Premature to death. Does he actually win this? Premature is really low.
Oh, good predict.
Really good predict from One Death Power Spike. Gives the kill over to Nullman, and that was such a good prediction on that Abyssal Dive. And Premature burns Flash and heal, and still gets caught there. Really big for Jimmy and friends there. Even though Ivory Pug dies, they get 2 for 1, and Premature burns both the Summoner spells.
And that just does it to even out the initial lead that we started seeing from 5 Kitten Pack. And the goalie swings back. Although, this has to be Sunder or Poppy, right?
Yeah,
I refuse to believe that this is lethality. But
if it was
maybe I'm
lethality,
corrected.
And Kuya Kim is getting all in by Macchiato here. They trade R for R. Kuya Kim's trying to walk out here. Blue Apple is here, but Kuya Kim has his team as well.
They're sandwiched.
It looks like it's gonna be it's a 4v3 right now. One Death Power Spike is here, but
Ivory Pug has no flash.
Nowhere to go. Gonna get locked down by the Q. One Death Power Spike goes over the wall. Ayupok going very low. Nullman gets shut down by Blue Apple. One Death Power Spike. I mean, he's just in there. I don't think he's getting out of this one though. Oh, and Flashes, interesting choice. He's just gonna try to waste their time. And waste their time. He is going to do that, and he's dragging this death out for way longer than expected. So long, in fact, he might give over to Crimmy Fury. Nullman looking for a trade in the mid lane. I don't even know if that was worth it. He like lives for very long, but he just ended up giving the kill to Crimmy Fury.
And it's also and it's a flash.
Yeah, but it does mean that Murderous gets some tower playing in the top lane. Maybe he gets back into the game from that, because Blue Apple was one of the people there. But Crimmy is now 5-2, finally able to play the game as opposed to last game. We'll see if he's able to carry now that he has some gold to his name.
But what's really interesting to mention also is that even with all of these good plays from the side of 5 Kitten Pack, that the gold is still a bit even because of the fact that some of these lanes were a bit struggling before some of these good skirmishes on the side of 5 Kitten Pack.
Yeah, Kuya Kim's still up 20 CS. Ivory Pug also up CS. We're just looking for something in the top lane here. Get some good damage off. Blue Apple is just going to be able to walk away. Ivory Pug switches his guns. Blue-green. Very strong poking combo. See if he finds anything. Just autos.
And now with the Herald spawned, it's going to be really interesting because both teams have pretty strong win conditions they want to play for to snowball. And as I say that, we have Noman.
Noman looking mid. Kuyakim really low actually. He needs to be very careful as to not get one shot by Macchiato. But looks like Macchiato's not gonna find it. Noman picks up another kill.
And what's just a small miscalculation with the fact that the fear was just not up yet, so they were not safe from ganks yet. In the meantime, we do have bot lane.
Yuzuki's
There's a play.
Yuzuki's really low. On that power
Meanwhile,
spike, stunned off. Very Pug has this giant shield, and it's gonna be 1-for-1. Top lane, Murderers dies.
Yeah, went a little too deep under the enemy tower, but Noman does pick up that kill onto the Ezreal in the bot lane, as
and that makes
he
him 4-1. Picks up a shutdown there.
and wait, was that even? That was even, right? 2 for 2.
It was 2-for-2. Of course, one died in the top lane, but it was a 2-for-1 in the bot lane and then 1-for-0 top.
Interesting.
Kuikim's the first one with this mythic finished.
Still, we do see one Def Power Spike running up to this top lane. He wants to try to not only notify his team, but also stop this take, but I don't think that's happening. Kitten just
a little bit too late.
Picks up and... Oh, he doesn't have wards.
Wait, they're kind of low.
Oh, wait, he just...
Oh, wait, Kitten flashes away and leaves Blue Apple to die here. That's going to be a really good gold bounty going over to Kuikim. And like I said earlier, they have no real tanks. If Kuikim is able to snowball his lead, he's going to be out of control real quick. Speaking as someone who played AD carry versus a Fed Zed with Yomu's, not something you want, not a position you want to be in as 5 Kittens with a lot of squishier champions. And also, Blue Apple decided to go Within first item.
It's interesting. I think there's
Splash.
good value on board, but... Oh.
Top lane, Murderers, looking a little low. Does get a lot of healing down.
But he survives. Meanwhile, bot lane.
Bot lane, a lot of damage going down. One Death Power Spike, really good eats. Ivory Pog dodges the ults damage from Ezreal. Going back in, One Death Power Spike is actually playing like a maniac and it's working out. Ivory Pog should be able to clean up this kill. And just flashes over the wall. Top lane, I believe Murder's got out with his life, but he's going to lose his tower for it. As Macchiato's bot does not have his ultimate up, which means that he will probably not be able to kill the Jimmy and Friends bot lane.
Meanwhile, Kuyakim in the top lane.
Kuyakim gets kicked away. Good disengage from Kitten. But Kuyakim's looking for more. He's got the Ghost Blade. Good ultimate over Aurelia Vanguard's edge. And
abandoning the Aurelia.
Blue Apple has no armor.
Oh!
Blue Apple barely able to lifesteal out of it. Kuyakim with not quite enough damage. And yeah, Kitten almost just left Blue Apple to die again, but Blue Apple able to come up. I don't know what I'm saying, man.
Kitten was able to get back in time to shield Blue Apple and create that counter kill. Meanwhile,
Kuyakim almost played it really well. Was able to ult over the Blue Apple's ults, but not quite able to find enough damage on Blue Apple. Also, can we talk about the fact that Ivory Pog has a 2-level advantage on Creamy Fury here?
Yeah, even though Creamy Fury has been able to pick up a lot of these kills, they did come at the cost of some of the waves. And meanwhile,
mid lane, Fallen Murderers all the way here. We're just dropping the ultimate, and
but being mid lane here means that Kuyakim is finding the top tower actually. Mid fight.
Murderers might just get this kill. Yeah, Blue Apple's not that tanky, and I think actually I have no idea. Is this even because this could be Shield Bow or Bork from Blue Apple. Bot lane, some interesting things happening. Kitten misses that resonating strike. onto Nolan. Kirby Fury eating in, but Ivory Pog has really good guns right now. And he's just gonna back out there.
Oh, but we have Makito. Oh,
Noman's following.
Macchiato.
Running literally parallel. One of the Fire Spike going in, gets rooted up by the Dark Binding. Macchiato ults in. Ayupog's walking forwards though.
The
Pops his
chakrams.
ultimate.
Oh,
Chakrams going crazy. Noman frontlining, and there's so much damage coming out from Ivory Pog. Unfortunately, he runs out of his chakrams. I think if he still had some left on that last hit, he would have killed Grimmy
oh
Fury
wait.
there. Oh, wait, this kills? And they're going for more. One of the Fire Spike just ulting Nullment out, and really well played from the side of Jimmy and friends. Murders should be fine. Wrestling Strike does land, but I don't think Kitten has anything to find here. In fact, Kitten might find him. Going in. Lots of damage. Ult goes down, gets kicked under a tower, shifts back, and Kitten doesn't have enough damage. And Blue Apple is here for something? I don't think he finds anything, just doesn't not have the damage. And no one's gonna find Kitten here. Oh, good flash.
And it's so far it's a 1-for-1 trade, but ooh.
Good flash out of the timing of Murders. Murders pops Ghost, but it's probably not going to amount to much. Ivory Pog is here. I don't know that Black Kittens wants to fight here.
And it's an NA Ram!
Really is. Kim's running to the bot lane though. And Ivory Pog is fed once again this game. Grimmy Fury might have gotten some leads, especially with that double kill early in the game, but Ivory Pog has a huge farming advantage right now.
And finally, we get a break from the fighting. 2 minutes straight of just straight up brawls, as finally the game slows down to a state where the teams are spreading out again to try to collect resources and look to set up for this mid game. And as I say that, ooh, interesting E from Blue Apple. Meanwhile, Nullment.
With Power Spike, nothing's gonna happen here. Nullment's here. Blue Apple needs to be careful. Has the support of Yuzuki here, but he has no armor whatsoever, and not enough damage to deal with Kuya Kim here. They might look for Yuzuki, but I don't think they have the cooldowns for it. Yeah, I'm really questioning this Wit's End build from Blue Apple. Sure, it helps him lane against Vladimir better, but the second he's into anybody else on the side of Jimmy and friends, he just gets one shot.
And meanwhile, pick top lane.
Kitten in trouble here. Ivory Pog goes for the Graviton ult. And oh my god, he does so much damage. One Death Power Spike flashes forwards. Macchiato's just dead, probably. Creamy Fury is looking for One Death Power Spike. They do find it, but Creamy Fury blows up. Really good Dark Binding by Yuzuki, but Murderers has the W to stay out of the way. Ivory Pog does have his chakrams. Murderers goes down, but Ivory Pog does so much damage. And looks like even with Yuzuki and Blue Apple here, they're not going to find Ivory Pog, while Noman and Kuya just take the dragon away.
And
Ivory Pog's on a ward.
Ivory Pog looking, ooh.
He's on a ward,
there it is.
and 1,000 golds for Blue Apple. That's really good for Blue Apple here. He's going to be able to get that Blade of the Ruined King off of that, and I mean, maybe he actually has some damage potential not to one-shot Aphelios in a 1v1.
Meanwhile, Kuya
but not really gonna find anything. Ivory Pog has finished his second item though, is very, very strong. Has the boots plus Infinity Edge. Are they looking for Baron here?
It's Rift Herald, but there's no Herald. The timer is not there for them. And what's really interesting is all of these plays have slowly inched out a lead for the side of Jimmy and friends. However, it's been a really bloody game, and both sides have shown that they are not as fully confident with these team compositions as last time. So it will really come down to how this mid-game macros played out as the Baron spawns, and we've reached this 20-minute mark.
Yeah, for sure, Jimmy and Friends' side is a little bit stronger, just due to them farming a little bit better. Especially Very Pog with this 170 CS, the Creamy Fury's 118. Very Pog definitely playing really, really well here. But we'll see if he's able to convert
Oh,
that into team fights. That's one at Power Spike, really good W. Noman is Yuzuki back, and Yuzuki's just caught there. Nothing he can do. They might be looking for Blue Apple here too. Very Pog dodges the E, and they're not gonna find very much. Meanwhile, bot lane, Murderers is getting picked as well. Um,
when he walks out, he's just got the ghost.
see, now he's getting his value out of the ghost, and House Kitten is really low. Noman's here. Might find something. Looking for it. Smites, E's good flash, but Nolan's passive. And Macchiato might not get out of this either. The One Death Power Spike is here, and he's so tanky. And Nolan does plenty of damage, and this game is, once again, just slipping out of the hands of 5Kittens.
And here comes Jimmy and friends, knocking on the base. They take the inner tower, and finally they think they've had enough. They decide it's time to back. It's time to reset as a team, and they are going to potentially look. They should look for this Baron, or for some more leads when they come back. On the side of five House Kitten, we should be seeing them really. They really need to start to try to punish some more mistakes. There's a lot of singular pushes on the side of Jimmy and friends, and if they can identify some of these pushes, they might be able to find a lead by picking one of the members off and then turning that into some pressure on an ABN objective or onto other players on the team.
Also, I just want to make a note.
Speaking of which,
Blue Apple. Oh, Noman looking for a kill onto Yuzuki, and spell immune, but it doesn't matter. Very Pog just does so much damage. One Death Power Spike is a little bit far up though. Blue Apple, like I was going to mention, Blue Apple has no Blade of the Ruined King still, and he's just gonna get stunned up and killed. Very Pog's ultimate goes wide, but I don't think it matters. His auto Q goes down with Gravitum, and Apple's just gone. And Jimmy and Friends is looking for more. Normally goes in. One Death Power Spike Wing in. Huge damage onto Creamy Fury. I don't even know where that damage came from. But Murderers also back into the game, does so much damage.
Oh, lag.
And
we're back.
There's just so much damage from the side of Jimmy and Friends. Very Pog is playing out of his mind this series. Is farming really, really well, has a ton of gold always, and is just one-shotting the enemy carries. Also, I don't know if you saw, but Murderers just queued Yuzuki and did half of his health.
Yep. Just sitting in the base. By this point, Murderers is able to do whatever he wants. And as we say that, the top tower falls too, and this is just slowly but surely becoming a really difficult game for the side of 5Kitten.
Yeah, definitely a slower game than last game, but Jimmy and Friends, they managed to pick up a lot of CS advantage, especially in this bot lane, and they're able to convert it into a lot of damage, and that unfortunately 5Kittens, they just don't have the health in order to tank all of this damage from Very Pog and Murderers. Not even mentioning Kuya Kim, who really hasn't even been a part of these fights. We'll see his KP is only 6 out of the 29.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Starting Baron. I don't know how well this is going to go for them though. And One Death Power Spike Wing in, looking for Creamy Fury. Noman turns around, he's in, a huge ult. And that Fern of ult from Very Pog just does so much damage. Auto, and he just autos everything to kill. As an AD carry does. Triple kill for Very Pog. Looking for the Quadra. Not gonna find it. Creamy Fury just has so much mobility, but he is going to find this Baron. And Jimmy Friend's looking for Creamy Fury. They're not gonna find him. Unfortunately, but they do find the Baron. And they're probably just gonna go right down for the Dragon Soul. Very Pog may be backing for an item, but Dragon Soul's up.
No, they just want to end the game. They think it's over.
and it might just be over. IU Pog is so fed right now. Three items plus a dagger. He just has so much damage. Has good gun combo. And where did Yuzuki's health bar go? Kim definitely just took him down there. As I don't even know where to look because all over the place we see.
It's all up to Blue Apple.
Up.
Blue Apple versus the world.
I think he gets like 2-shot by IU Pog here.
Don't worry, he has Bork.
Oh, he finally finished it. Ionia still stands. Very poignant as Nolment just presses W and Blue Apple not able to move. And Jimmy and Friends wraps up a very quick game 2.
As they go on to face Renekton Gators in their next series. A pretty solid and straightforward 2-0 from the side of Jimmy and Friends. Really sending a statement that they are able to play these matches and that they aren't afraid of being able to try different different compositions and showing that they have mastery on a lot of champions.
Yeah, they pushed their leads very hard through just playing well. It wasn't necessarily that their macro was better, although it was very good at some points in this game. But they were just able to accrue leads through farming and CSing and just playing well individually. And then they were also able to put it together, and they were just able to roll over 5 Kittens in these games. Yeah, I don't know if we could invite maybe an analyst or
I definitely know none of the players are here. They have all left. They are done. They don't want to be here. Everyone wants to go play other games, and so do you. So I think that should be it.
You're right. I do want to go play other things. You got me there.
So, today was a pretty quick stream, but we'll be back really soon with potentially some more games. There's a pretty good rumor that there is going to be a winners semifinals with one of the winners being guaranteed in the top 3 on Sunday between Scarlet Vengeance and Wochen Reaction. However, that's just a rumor, but we'll see. Maybe there will be a match soon. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.